It's the box. It's a plane. It's a box plane, and that's what we're playing with today on Piney Grove, folks. I'm Deb, that's Brad on the tractor, on the Summit TX25, and we're gonna play the box plane. Today, we're gonna be working on this pad for our upcoming equipment shed or pole barn. So we brought in dirt from the pond, we brought in dirt from a shooting range that we never used. We've piled it up, we used the Summit trailer for that, worked beautifully. And today we're gonna go ahead and get it all level and get it ready to actually begin building the pole barn. So like I said, we're using the box plane, not a box blade, not a plane, but a box plane, which is Summit's patent pending piece of equipment. And let's see how quick he can get this done. There she goes. It's got the box blade and then it's got some extra blades inside as well. I think we moved a total of like 28 loads of dirt with the dump trailer. Tried to spread it last week, but it was just too wet, so gone a week without rain. Hopefully we're able to get this done today. The equipment shed will be 20 by 36, and we're just waiting on some permitting to go through before we build it. It's already seeming to go very fast. We'll get the level and a board up here in a couple minutes and start seeing how we're doing with our level. Got the bucket on the front today, so I'm guessing he's going to use that as well, along with the box plane. We've kept the grapple on there a lot, and that's been just fun and super helpful. But today, equally as helpful and fun, the box blade and the bucket. He knows just when to pick up, when to let down, how much pressure he needs. It's interesting for me to watch. Changes angles, goes this way, goes that way, and I realize you people that are familiar with farm equipment, this is just standard for you, but not standard for me. I've seen him level before, obviously. I've seen him use the bucket and the box blade. But I think this is the first time we've messed with this much dirt. In a while, at least. This equipment shed will house the Summit equipment, but it'll also house some additional equipment. I think Brad wants to try his hand also in maybe some milling of wood, so maybe this will be the home for that equipment as well. To say it again, he's gotten a lot of the dirt knocked down pretty fast. Here he comes. We'll have to get his opinion on the box plane. But again, not a box blade, not a plane, but a box plane. What you think, Bradford? What you think?
What do I think? What I think is that the dirt is not dry enough to spread properly.
Oh no.
So we dumped about, I don't know, 28, 30 loads here using the Summit TX25 and the Summit dump trailer. And we were hoping it was dry enough to spread today and pack. Well, it's definitely got enough moisture to pack, but it's not dry enough to crumble. But let's talk for a minute about this box blade / box plane. But what it does is right now it's in box blade mode when this is down, and then it functions just like a box blade. I don't have the scarifiers down because I don't need the ripping, but the land plane blades inside of there are gathering up the dirt or cutting the dirt, and then it all stays inside here like a box blade. And then to switch it to land plane mode, come over here and grab this handle. And now it's in land plane mode, and as you go across a road surface, or in this case our pole barn pad, any excess dirt will fall off the back. So that's what this thing does. What we're using it for today is box blade mode. I thought maybe we could put it in land plane mode, but I don't think the soil is going to let us do that. But let me grab the 2x4 and the level, and let's talk about what we're trying to do here with the pad. We had quite a bit of fall or drop or slope or whatever you want to call it as we went from this side down there. And I think we were about 6 or 8 inches too low here when we started. And as I put the level on it right now, you can see the level on top of the board. We're probably an inch or two low. I'm going to have Deb hold this end of the board and go all the way down and then see how much it's missing from that end. I thought we had enough dirt. We're also going to check it this way. But despite all the dirt we brought here, we might not have enough, Deb. You want to come here and hold this in? Just like right here, where my foot is.
What am I doing?
I'll drag the 2x4, and then I'll drag it to your foot. Because it's kind of level right to there.
Didn't he tell me to hold that right there?
Did you hear her correct me? She said, didn't he tell me to hold that?
Well, you did. You said hold it right there where my foot is.
I'm doing like 5 different things.
Hold.
And she's going to criticize me for not saying the right thing.
That's not criticizing. That's me asking. Hold it right there where my foot is while I drag it. Well, how am I supposed to hold it while he's dragging it? Just saying.
You can't get good help nowadays, guys. You just can't get good help nowadays, especially when it's free help.
I was going to say, you can't complain about the price.
All right. We're about 4 inches low here. And we can probably drag some of that dirt this way. Let's check it across that way. Because ultimately what we want the water to do is as it comes down the hill, go to that side of the pole barn and that side of the pole barn. And then we want to measure it out because we might have made the pad much too big for the barn that's going here. The barn that's going here is going to be 20 foot deep by 36 wide. So let's check it across there, Deb. You take this really light 2x4 and go sideways. We're almost dead level this way. Not only slopes towards the camera, it slopes that way. But we got this pretty close. Let's go closer to the camera and check that. That's actually not bad. See that bubble right there? It means towards Deb probably needs a little bit more dirt. But that's not too bad. Now let's measure it out and see exactly how the pole barn will lay. So what we're trying to do is have everything symmetrical here on our homestead. So as we built things, we've had them parallel or lined up in relationship with each other. So the house behind you is in line with this shed. It's the back of the house is parallel to the back of the shed. So we want the front of the new pole barn parallel with the back of the mega shed. So we're gonna measure over here. Deb is chasing Bella.
Bella went to steal love from Mom.
My mom came over to say hi to Bella. My mom decided to photobomb us. So what we did there is we just found that the side of the driveway is about 36 feet from the shed. We'll establish a reference line there, and that'll be a parallel line to the shed, and then we'll just figure out how the new pole barn will lay out from that. All right, Deb, what do you think?
I think it's a very good reference line.
Where I'm going to stand right here is going to be the front corner of the pole barn. And Deb, could you stand in that back corner over there, closer to that log pile? It's 36 foot wide, or 36 foot long, and 20 foot wide, and each one of these flags represents where a pole will be, except there won't be a pole here because we bought a special header, so this will be an open bay. Summit has loaned us their tractor and a bunch of their implements, and we want to keep it under storage. So we're going to build this building for that, and also scattered throughout the property, we have other implements that are just outside and rusting. We want to get them under cover, and we also want a place we can work. Maybe if we get a sawmill or wood splitting or something like that, we can do in this open bay. It's going to be built by Backwoods Buildings out of Chipley, Florida. We've partnered with them on this building, and we're going to do some videos as they build it. Look them up. If you're in the Northwest, South Georgia, South Alabama area, they service this whole area. They also said they've shipped to the Bahamas. So if you're in the Bahamas, maybe you want a pole barn, check out Backwoods Building. But getting back to the back of the building, what we're thinking is a shelf here, maybe 6 foot wide, and you put the lighter implements on the top shelf, and then you back up under the shelf on the bottom and drop off things like a box blade or whatever. And that way you have 2 levels of implements along here. So I give Deb a lot of credit because she told me build this thing as big as you want. With our big pole barn, which is mainly for her animals, we have a 16 by 48 lean on that. We'll be able to keep some equipment there. We got the mega shed, we'll keep some equipment there, and then this is for the rest of it. So anyway, with it laid out now, what are you thinking? You think it's big enough, or you don't know?
It doesn't look big enough to me. It just doesn't look big enough for me. For a couple reasons. One, I know him, and I know he likes equipment. I don't think we've built a structure yet that he wouldn't have kind of liked to have maybe had it bigger. And that's one. And the other thing is I'm awful at looking at a pad and thinking it's big enough. I've yet to look at one pad of any structure we've built and think it was big enough. But I think with the shelf idea, maybe that will suffice and give him room. But stay tuned. My guess is a year down the line, 2 years down the line, he says, You know, babe, we could probably take out a few trees on that side, and we can probably go ahead and extend the size of the pole barn. And oh, what I tell you, I told you at the beginning of this that I thought he was going to get into milling of wood, so.
I don't disagree, Deb, that, you know, you got to build buildings as big as you can afford. But if you think about removing more trees, redoing the driveway, because we're at the end of the railroad ties on the driveway, this is the space that we have. And, you know, at some point you just got to say that's enough. But as we're walking through here, we talked about the shelf. So with the shelf coming out to about here, you still have, if you walk that way to the edge of the building, you still have that much space, right? I mean, you can get, you could get the tractor without an implement on it. You could get the tractor in that space. We could get the excavator there. But the way we're planning is you come in here with the front end loader and the forks, and you put equipment up on this shelf. Whether that shelf goes the whole 36 feet, I don't know. And then that'll leave you 20 minus 6, that'll leave you 14 feet this way to do other things. Like if we get some hay equipment, and hay equipment takes up a lot of space, maybe we could put the excavator here, we could put the tractor here, we could put something else there.
Well, thought the dirt was too wet, but I guess he wants to knock it down a little bit. I think he also wants to show me how, now that we've got the pad laid out and it's just not dirt, how I can see how the tractor fits in there and how there would be room for other equipment. But I have to tell you that seeing the tractor in there and seeing it laid out, knowing there's going to be a shelf that sticks out and knowing he's going to want to house other equipment, I got to go back to what I originally said. It just doesn't look that big for me for what I think he's going to want to do with it. When we staked out the pad for the mega shed, I thought, gosh darn, it just doesn't look that big. And we actually pulled my car and his truck onto the pad, and then I got a little more of a visualization. You think it looks big enough for everything that he rattled off that he wants into it? I guess it doesn't matter at this point. At this point in time, we've bought the kit for the pole barn, and it is what it's gonna be. I'm gonna walk out there and give you perspective with the tractor and me. There's a tractor, and this is the end of it. And if he's talking about the shelving, it doesn't look that big to me. Do you think it looks that big? Is it just me? It's funny how much moisture this dirt holds, because we haven't had rain in a week. We thought it was going to be dry, and initially it looked like it was until he started box blading it, whatever it is he's doing, moving it around. But yeah, you can see that clay is still sticky, not crumbly. He talked about that he wouldn't extend it because of the railroad ties and a couple other things that he felt like would limit him. But once we're on this property full time, which good Lord willing will be this year, he's gonna have extra time and he's gonna want this bigger. So stay tuned and keep following us. In the long term, I think I'm gonna be right. Oh yeah, look how thick and sticky that dirt is. He had said he was gonna wait till it dries out, but he couldn't. He couldn't do it. It's too much fun. Oh, it's sticky, but he's still doing a good job with it. I'm a little envious of how the tractor is just second nature for him. And again, I know I say that a lot, but I'm just watching him tool around and grab his different angles and his bucket and his box plane, and he just doesn't think. Just does. And he makes progress, and he makes such fast progress.
Here's where we're at. We don't have enough dirt. Plain and simple, we don't have enough dirt. It shocked Deb because she's been running around the property walking Bella, who has just come back. And we thought we had enough here. Maybe we'd need a couple loads, but you can see the way I've got the 2x4 set up here with the level, we're a good 6 inches low on this end. And this is the low end or the slope end of the building. So we got to bring in a bit more fill dirt. We have more fill dirt across the property, but we kind of thought we were done trucking that. Another thing that I found when I was doing this is it's just too wet to work. It's not crumbling. and it's got a lot of clay in it, so it's staying together. So I used the back blade of the bucket to kind of drag some extra dirt around that was outside the footprint of the building and drag it to the center. And then I also used the back of the box plane to push dirt, because I just don't think if I try to use it in box plane or land plane mode, I don't think I'm going to be able to get that dirt to crumble and fill in all the gaps. The tractor's pretty heavy. I think it's around 3,400 pounds. So I was able to go back and forth across here, and you can see my divots here where it's packed it pretty good, but it needs more packing. We'll get more rain, that'll pack down. But I think I've done all I can do today to prep this pad. What it has done for us is it's given us a good visual on the space and the size of the space, and also what we have to do over here on the driveway. Let me talk about that real quick before we close out the video. Because this is a hill, water flows downhill, of course, and the way we designed the driveway was to crown it and then push the water over to this side, because we weren't planning on putting a pole barn here. So the water naturally travels down here, but that's built up a couple feet. So right now we've created this super highway for water, and we've also created kind of this berm to get up into the building. And it's less built up as you go this way. So we're trying to figure out now what we have to do. And I think between me and the camera, we got to put a little bit more dirt and keep that water going between the limestone driveway and shooting down there. And then when we go in the pole barn, we're just going to have to go over that little bump. So we need more dirt here, I guess, is where I'm at with that, Deb. So what do you think? We made some progress today. We didn't make as much as we wanted to, but what are you thinking?
I think you did more than I thought you were going to do after you said it was wet, so that's kind of cool. I am shocked, like you said, how much more dirt we need, and I'm still sticking to mine that I think it looks little.
I'm not going to disagree that I wouldn't like a bigger building, but we can't have 60-foot buildings, you know, every 30 feet across the property. But at the end of this building, when this thing is all said and done, be sure to check back in our channel and see if it's a I told you so moment as we start to fill this building with equipment. But that's all we got for today's video, guys. We sure appreciate you watching. If you're interested in learning more about Summit Tractors, we'll put information down below. We'll also put down information about Backwood Builders, the people that are going to build this building for us. And they're going to put up the structure, the pole barn structure. Deb and I are going to enclose it, so you don't want to miss that one either. So until the next video, y'all take care out there. And remember, life's short.
Be kind.
And tractor hard.
Take care.